My name is Ejisu By Election, and this is Election Brief. Within the next 30 minutes, we have the latest update from the political scene. We are live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. We're also on your social media handles at Joy News on TV. My personal handle is at Danana Aisha. Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, and German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty. Election Headquarters for an informed electorate. Do stay for details. Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has touted religious and faith-based organizations as instrumental partners for development of the nation. Premising on the numerous developments undertaken by various religious institutions, he says his government will consider leveraging this expertise to the benefit of the country. The NPP presidential hopeful made the remarks at an engagement with the clergy in the Western region as part of his regional campaign tour. There's more in this report.
Recognizing the role of religious and faith-based institutions, the NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia said his government in future would leverage their impact to promote development.
One of the things I want to do as president, I believe, is to introduce a golden age, that of a relationship between church and faith-based organizations and government. Why do I say so? I believe that that is the reality. If you look at the church, for example, the church has done so much for the country. Schools, hospitals, taking care of people, it's just phenomenal what the church has done. So if you are looking for development partners in our country, they are not the foreigners. The development partners, our number one is the church and the faith-based organizations. How many schools do our development partners build for us? How many hospitals do they build? But therefore, how can we leverage this and give incentives to the church and to the faith-based organizations for them to do more for us? And this is where I want us to see enhanced incentives for our churches and faith-based organizations.
Dr. Bawumia also charged politicians not to gamble with the peace that Ghana is currently enjoying for their political gains.
Different religions, we get on very well, and you may not even know that we are different religions. You go to Nigeria, it stares you in the face. It's very sharp, and people don't tend to get along for these reasons. So I'm most grateful for this country, and I want to ask you to continue to pray for the peace of this country. As politicians, we will come and go, but Ghana will always be here. It will always be here. And we need to protect this country and not sacrifice the peace and stability of this country on the altar of political ambitions or ambitions of particular parties.
The Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, is in the western region of Ghana on a day's campaign tour ahead of the 2024 general elections.
In the wake of the recent tragic killing of a military officer in Kaswa over land disputes, the NPP flag bearer also emphasized the urgent need for land digitization in Ghana. Dr. Bawumia says his government is committed to the modernization of the land administration system and the enhancement of access to land-related services for all Ghanaians.
Really going as far as we want. One of the areas that we need to really solve is the land digitalization. Where you're going to digitalize the whole process, you should be able to sit down at home and know who really owns this land. Only know therefore, without really going to get land guards. Today we are working with land guards, and people are being killed over ownership. That once we digitalize the whole process, the courts will know in 1 minute who really owns this land, because everything will be digitalized, and we'll use blockchain technology. Blockchain technology sounds fancy, but it's simple. It means once you use it, nobody can change that record. Nobody can change the record. That record is immutably solid. So once you apply blockchain technology to this thing, all the kululu that you tend to see at the Lands Commission that you feel the files are missing, records are changed, all of that will be his history. And that can allow the country to develop. Because you cannot develop if land ownership is in question. Investors will not come. You don't have a mortgage market. And so we're going to do a whole new thing. I also believe that introduction.
The man at the center of the Ejisu By Election bribery allegation, Dr. Kingsley Nyarko, has broken his silence. He's offered detailed explanation on what transpired. Dr. Kingsley Nyarko says he offered the money to the election officials for lunch. A statement released a while ago from the Deputy Minister reads, and I'll be sharing excerpts with you, I must state unequivocally and in all honesty that the gesture shown by me to the electoral officers was with good intent and not to bribe nor influence them to act contrary to their conscience, conviction, and character. He goes on to say, I have endeavored over the years to build an image of integrity, credibility, honesty, kindness, and discipline, and I will not do anything deliberately to diminish it. Although I acted in good faith, it seems my good intention and action have been misconstrued to mean I have bribed or influenced electoral officers. That was not the case. I did not bribe anybody. As unfortunate as the incident is, I would like to apologize to the Commission and the citizenry and assure all and sundry that such an act will never happen again. I will also gladly submit myself to any process to establish the truth of what transpired at the polling station on that day. Well, Dr. Kingsley Nyarko, on that day, on Tuesday, at the polling station where he voted and where this whole thing happened, spoke with Ohim Interior after the event.
We have Dr. Kingsley Nyarko here, MP for Kwadaso, and it's good to see you in the Ejisu constituency, though this is not your parent constituency. What is at stake for your party as far as this by-election is concerned?
Okay, so, Ejisu is a traditional New Patriotic Party seat, and this constituency has produced some great MPs who were also ministers, like Honorable Kwasi Oseiche, who became Foreign Affairs Minister, our own brother and very good friend, John Kuma, who was Deputy Finance Minister, who passed recently. So it is a seat that means a lot to us in terms of the political dynamics within the region and the country. We've lost a very good friend and brother, very hardworking and diligent, somebody who had Ejisu, on his heart. I know the passion he had for the constituency is no more, and I think that we need to fight to get a suitable replacement for him, and that person is the one who is representing the New Patriotic Party, Lawyer Kwabena Boateng, and we know the numbers in Parliament are good. We can't afford to lose this seat. So we are doing everything possible to ensure that we win the seat to even honor the memory of our late brother. I don't think he'll be happy in his grave if we lose the seat to any other person.
Well, I've been joined by Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Gbande, for more on this. Grateful for your time, Mustafa. You did not contest in the Ejisu By Election, but looking at the bigger picture, how does this development strike you?
Thank you very much. I think that basically we've been saying that the Ejisu By Election and the outcome of it in its totality represent a referendum against this government when the people have become so rational and rebel against broad day sharing of money for votes. Beyond that, what is very interesting is that the ordinary Ghanaian have also lost interest in the credibility of the Electoral Commission to the extent that people will now vote and would want to spend the rest of their time at polling stations until their votes have been counted, particularly to the conduct of these MP of Kwadaso. Thanks to Joy Leeds, but for that, he would have succeeded in bribing the public officer on duty for the purposes of election. He would have done so with a sole intention of compromising this officer. And for me, he didn't just do it at any place. He did it within the perimeter of voting. This is a restricted area, and for which reason we place police officers there, that no unlawful activity that will undermine the transparency of the election should happen over there. And clearly, if you calculate his body language, his demeanor, and how he left the envelope and how the lady has to take it and all of that, there was an intention clearly to bribe. Even though the lady initially didn't have the direct readiness to receive the money, she took the money. So somebody attempted to bribe and somebody collected the money. His good intention could be that the lady is his girlfriend and he wants to go and give the lady money. But even that, morally, do you have to go and give your girlfriend money within a voting space? So clearly, this MP should be arrested by this time, because I understand the Electoral Commission's officer have been invited by the police. Now there is a giver of the bribe and the receiver of the bribe. How do you interrogate the receiver while the giver is still walking? You have killed the matter from the onslaught. And so what the police should do according to the machinery of investigation, criminal investigation, is for this MP to be a suspect. He should be arrested. In fact, he should have been arrested at a particular spot where the money was shared. And I can refer the police to Asinot. When a particular individual was seen sharing money, the police arrested the person on spot. So why is it that in the case of this particular MP, they are beating about the bush and arresting an innocent Electoral Commission officer who is hard up because of the hardship of the economy? So we are just simply asking the police to do the needful, arrest this MP. It is not correct. It is morally wrong. If you go to his own constituency in Kwadaso, he is one of the worst performing MPs in Ashanti region as far as the MPP is concerned. He is even worse than what the MPP's record is in Ejisu. At the time people are looking for school fees they cannot find. At the time people are looking for drugs they cannot find. At the time people are struggling to get 3 square meals a day. You, an MP, have money to go and bribe people, and you call that a good intention. What good intention? We have paid.
Let me bring in the NPP's Deputy General Secretary Haruna Mohammed on this.
Yeah.
You've seen what has transpired at Ejisu, and of course, the Electoral Commission conducting its own investigation, even inviting the police to come into it. What has the party done about this?
Thank you very much, Aisha. I want to say good afternoon to your cherished viewership and my other colleagues on the panel for this particular discussion. We have seen a video that has been put out there that's supposed to have come from a Ejisu By Election, where Professor Kingsley Nyarko is seen to have given lunch, which has been established to electoral officers. Aisha, there's one thing that political parties and some persons are dishonestly not telling the people the truth. We are all in this country. When registrations are being done, when election processes are being done, parties cook food and give to Electoral Commission officers when they are on duty. We have done this on several occasions.
And this occasion, it wasn't food, it was an envelope, and the MP himself has corroborated that it was money.
He said, he's giving lunch. That's what the MP said. What is the intention? Who better defines an intention than the person who does the act? He said that he gave it out for lunch. Somebody else is sitting somewhere and determining it as a content of bribe.
What does the party itself think about this in an election where the MPP has been accused of planning to actually rig the election and also engage in vote buying?
If it is established that it is not for lunch, then that is where the party, if somebody is giving lunch, what do you want the party to do? Where has generosity ended in this country? That you cannot give somebody lunch, you can't give somebody breakfast. Where has generosity ended? Is the NDC telling us that they have never cooked food and given something to even the Electoral Commission officers? This is done on several countless occasions. I have been in election systems and have seen this happen severally. Is it because this one is money?
Yes, of course, but there's a difference between money and
that makes lunch.
There's a difference between money and food, Ms. Haruna Mohammed.
Food? What do they use to prepare food? You use money to buy food. In instances where you think that you cannot provide food at that particular material moment, somebody can use money to go and buy it, which reduces time. So if he is saying that he's provided it to support them in terms of life, let's out how do you bribe?
So the party actually endorses this.
Again, I can't hear you.
Does the MPP endorse what the doctor has done? The MP has done.
He said blind. So if he speaks blind, I don't see anywhere in CI 127 that says that you cannot give an officer blind. What about they have put on their table and tell them that I have put this food and I've given it to you? Does it also constitute bribe? Is it because they have given money? He has said so. For us, the party, we are liberal, and we the rule of if that we think that it is we bring it on the code and Ghana. For us, we will fall on that. But the gentleman is he has given land.
All right. The dean of the University of Ghana Law School has been expressing worry over the vote buying trend in our politics. He spoke with my colleague Benjamin Akakbo. All right, so we will be bringing you that interview shortly. But let me thank you, gentlemen, Haruna Mohammed and Mustafa Gbande, for your time on Election Brief. I've now also been joined by Amache Boateng. Mustafa Gbande?
I wish that I could react to a few things that Mohammed have exposed.
Give me Aisha.
Because first of all,
that's all time will allow us. I think Mustafa, you made your point, and then Haruna Mohammed also reacted. That's all time. I think this issue hasn't ended yet. It is something that has started, especially as we go into the 2024 election. We'll have time to digest it the more. Let me bring in Amache Boateng, who is senior lecturer at KNUST. What's your preliminary observation with what happened in the just ended Ejisu By Election? Dr. Amache Boateng, grateful for your time. I want your preliminary observation with what happened in the just ended Ejisu By Election.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Actually, generally speaking, you want to say that the track of its work as instead of the other police also makes security very well. Voters conducted themselves pretty well. You had a few incidents of, some people trying to, if you like, take the law into their own hands. I heard that one person was arrested. And then you have the political parties also going in consciously to affect the outcome of the whole exercise in the full glare of the general public. That is what, to me, was a terrible development.
Does this give you any indication, Dr. Amache Boateng, that vote buying will end anytime soon?
Not necessarily so. But then the political parties will be forced to, move away from vote buying. They are not going to have the resources to continue to do that, especially at the national general level. If, it occurs within the party's primaries, over there, they have demonstrated that they have the money to do it. And even then, one of them came out, and the family is called Apia Kubi in Ashanti region. He won his constituency all right, but he came out to acknowledge the fact that, he spent a fortune to go through the elections and win, and wondered whether they could sustain it. So generally speaking, I don't think it's sustainable going forward. They will be forced to stop. In addition to what is happening currently, the terrible nature of the economy, it's such that Ghanaians have had to face the truth and challenge the government, on various occasions. And the government, the government is simply not able to provide any significant explanation. What happened yesterday with the president's position on doing so and the reality on the ground is one such example. Governance is suffering because they don't have money to, simply enable them to do what is expected of them. They are pushing every pestle they can lay hands on into elections, into winning elections. I don't think it is going to be sustainable, actually.
Grateful for your time, Dr. Amache Boateng is a political scientist with the KNUST. Now, the National Democratic Congress says it is hoping to win the majority of votes in the whole central constituency of the Volta region to ensure victory for its presidential candidate, John Mahama. Commissioning the whole central NDC youth wing, the whole central NDC parliamentary candidate, Edem Otosu, hinted the party hopes to mobilize the youth and leverage their numbers to sustain the whole central parliamentary seat whilst increasing presidential votes.
As part of a strategy to increase voting pattern for the National Democratic Congress, an office dedicated to its youth wing has been set up in the whole central constituency. The office would serve as an administrative unit for planning and execution of strategies towards mobilizing the majority of the youth to vote for the opposition party. Edem Otosu is the whole central parliamentary candidate for the NDC.
The youth wing of the NDC is a part and is an integral part of the party, and that is where a lot of the things are done, because when you look at the country's population, the demographics, it shows that the youth form majority. Therefore, we have to always look at them when it comes to elections. By mobilizing the youth, it means that we are gearing up for victory 2024. Riding on the back of the youth to victory, because they form the majority and they know what they stand to gain when NDC comes to power. The target for us is to amass almost all the votes that we can. All those who have registered in the constituency, our target is to amass almost all the votes as much as we can for election 2024 victory for JDM.
The NDC whole central constituency youth organizer, Noah Giekpo, donated his pickup vehicle for the electioneering. He said it was his little contribution to enable the party to get enough logistics to work with. The NDC national youth organizer, George Opari Ado, lauded the thoughtfulness of the executives, adding that the national headquarters would complement their efforts for the desired results.
Let me first commend the whole constituency youth wing for what they've been able to achieve, putting out this office for the constituency and also donating a vehicle to see to it that the campaign runs effectively. Those of us coming from National, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, have started the processes of supporting each constituency with a motorbike and vehicles for both regional officers and national officers. We give assurances that we will make sure that all the resources that they require to work with will be brought to them so that they can achieve the victory that we all seek to achieve come 7 December 2024. We are a party in opposition. We will not be able to resource them like how the NPP is throwing money all about. And I've always emphasized that money doesn't win elections. It is superior strategy and commitment.
Fed Kwame Asari, Joy News. Oh.
Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Mustafa Gbande, has alleged that the recent action and posture of President Akufo-Addo towards some traditional rulers in the country shows that chiefs are losing confidence in the NPP, and that is a sign the party will lose the 2024 general election. He says the NPP has performed abysmally and does not deserve another term, urging Ghanaians to join hands with the NDC to vote them out of power. Mustafa Gbande made the statement at the training workshop at WA for NDC constituency executives in the region.
The one-day training workshop organized by the National Democratic Congress NDC for constituency executives in the region is to educate, sensitize, and strategize for the impending voter registration exercise. National organizer of the NDC, Joseph Yamin, noted that the NDC is keen to recapturing power from the governing New Patriotic Party NPP in the 2024 general elections and is therefore leaving no stone unturned in their bid to achieve that dream. He said, although the NDC has majority of the parliamentary seats in the Upper House region, the party will not be complacent but will up the ante to win all seats in the region.
We are not looking at winning about AC. We are talking about winning all the seats in this region because I think that the MPP haven't justified why they should have a single constituency to their name after 8 years of being in power. But that will come out of the work we do. And so even though we are doing well in the Upper West, our best is not enough because it didn't win us the general election. It didn't make John Mahama the president. It didn't win all the seats in the Upper West region. And that is our target.
Joseph Lamin touted the achievements of the NDC and John Dramani Mahama.
No, we need to rescue this country. And so whoever is available as a vessel to rescue this country is going to be used, irrespective of how long the person is going to stay. I think 1 day in office with John Mahama is worth more than 8 years of Nanado and Bawumia in office. John Mahama built the Wa Regional Hospital. How long did it take them to commission it? It was built, completed. The person who built it didn't struggle to use 2 years to build it. It took them more than 4 years, almost 4 years, to commission it. The Wa Airport is functioning. It wasn't functioning before until some works were being 8 years down.
And this is your election brief. It's on your election headquarters. Election headquarters is for an informed electorate. So enjoy the rest of our programs.